Hi, K-pop lovers. Welcome back to our channel. Hey guys, welcome back. You know what? Behind that perfect smile and captivating stage presence, Rose from Blackpink actually has a ton of unique habits and things that might shock you. There's even one habit that drives her own sister crazy. But wait, before we dive deeper, there's one secret she recently admitted in an interview, and it's pretty surprising because it turns out Rose struggles with something many of us deal with. So make sure you stick around until the end because the details are quite personal and rarely discussed. So first things first, let's talk about Rose's most annoying habit according to the people closest to her. In a hilarious over-the-phone interview, Rose's older sister Alice was asked to answer various questions about Rose. One of the questions was whether Rose had any annoying habits, and guess what? Alice immediately answered that Rose has this habit of cracking her knuckles, specifically her thumbs. When Alice said this, Rose, who was listening to the interview, burst out laughing because she knew exactly what habit her sister meant. Rose then explained that she does have this habit of clicking or cracking her thumbs, and according to Alice, this habit is extremely annoying, especially for people sitting next to her. Imagine that, even her own sister gets irritated by this habit. But honestly, this shows Rose's human side, proving she also has quirks just like all of us. Now, let's talk about Rose's morning routine, which turns out to be incredibly disciplined. As a global K-pop idol, Rose usually wakes up around 9 a.m., and unlike what many people might imagine, she doesn't immediately jump into makeup and photo shoots. Rose takes her skincare routine very seriously, inspired by Korean beauty traditions. She starts her morning with double cleansing, first using an oil-based cleanser followed by a gentle foaming wash. This technique has become the foundation of K-pop beauty secrets. But what's even more interesting is what she does after cleansing. Rose performs what beauty insiders call a hydration symphony, which is the process of methodically layering moisturizing products following Korean beauty principles that prioritize prevention over correction, treating skincare as healthcare rather than cosmetic enhancement. And you know what? This approach is incredibly effective because her glowing skin isn't just the result of makeup, but consistent care every morning. But wait, there's something even more surprising about Rose's morning routine. In preparation for Blackpink's Deadline World Tour in 2025, Rose improved her morning nutrition. Her breakfast typically consists of protein-rich foods, antioxidant-packed berries, and traditional Korean elements that provide sustained energy. And this isn't just any random diet, guys. Rose is extremely conscious about what she eats. In an interview with ELLE Korea, Rose revealed that she identified several unhealthy eating habits that could make her look more bloated on camera. The two main things she avoids are spicy food and late-night snacking. She makes sure not to eat anything late at night so her body has time to digest food properly before sleep. But what's interesting is, Rose admits that when she's working hard, her craving for spicy foods like tteokbokki immediately kicks in. However, when filming, she skips these cravings and chooses healthier options that won't make her bloated. Now, let me tell you something that might make you super relate to Rose. Turns out, Rose has a habit she herself admits is very unhealthy, but she struggles to stop doing it. In an interview with Paper magazine in November 2024, Rose admitted that she has a bad habit of doom-scrolling late at night, which sometimes leads her down a rabbit hole of negative comments that get into her head. And from this habit, she even wrote a song on her album ROSÉ. Rose said, "I realized how vulnerable and addicted I was to this online world and that craving for feeling like I wanted to be loved and understood. I hated that about myself." Even in interviews, Rose often appears as if nothing really phases her, but the reality is, every word, every comment, it crushes her. She described the song inspired by this habit as disgustingly vulnerable and honest. So if you think K-pop idols are immune to hate comments, think again. Rose honestly admits that she struggles with this, and the fact that she even used it as material for her music shows how courageous she is. Okay, now we're getting into the food topic, and this is super interesting. You know, Rose is actually very picky about certain foods. In an interview with Vogue Korea, when asked what food she hates most besides avocado, which many fans already know about, Rose firmly answered, eggplant. She even leaned forward when saying it because of how strong her feelings are about this. Her reason? She doesn't like the squishy texture of eggplant. So if you want to take Rose out to eat, definitely skip the eggplant dishes. But on the flip side, Rose absolutely loves certain foods. Her favorite is corn dog, but not just any corn dog, and she also really loves roasted squid legs, or what she calls short dari. She even laughed when revealing how delicious this snack is to her. Another fun fact, Rose once cried because of bean sprouts she ate in Thailand. Not sad crying, but because those bean sprouts were so crunchy and fresh that she was moved. She said, "I couldn't stop my tears from running down because those bean sprouts were just too good." See? This is the kind of passion and appreciation Rose has for good food. And speaking of things she can't stand, in a 2019 Star Road interview, Rose revealed that the thing she hates most in the world is insects or bugs. Lisa, who was her interview partner at the time, initially guessed ghosts, but turns out insects are a bigger fear for Rose. The Blackpink main vocalist could only nod in agreement when Lisa mentioned bugs. So imagine if there's a flying insect in the room when Rose is practicing or recording, it would be chaos. But honestly, this makes her more relatable because many of us are also scared of insects, right? Now let's talk about something that reveals the more vulnerable side of Rose. During her trainee days, Rose had an extremely demanding routine. Her day started at 9:30 a.m. with back-to-back vocal lessons, dance practice, and language lessons that often didn't end until 2 a.m. the next day. And what's even crazier, because she was driven to shine, Rose sometimes extended her practice even later just to use the dance hall alone. Imagine this level of dedication, guys. But there's one funny story from her trainee days. Rose revealed that she once tried to hide junk food when she was a trainee because she wasn't allowed to eat junk food. She emptied her pillowcase and filled it with junk food. Rose thought this was a good plan, until eventually a staff member came to clean her room and happened to touch the pillowcase. The staff heard the crumpling sound from the snack bags, and Rose's junk food was confiscated. This shows that even someone as disciplined as Rose had her rebellious moments as a teenager. But here's something that might surprise you about Rose's relationship with music. In her first YouTube video, Rose revealed that she once lost her passion for music, something she had loved since she started playing piano as a child. She even said, "I think at one point, I didn't even enjoy listening to music." And her self-confidence also dropped drastically. For several pretty tough years, Rose kept thinking about what it meant to have talent in music, to have talent in singing. But over time, Rose began to remember why she originally loved music, and she started ignoring the doubts she had. She realized that the most important thing in music is capturing her life experiences and her story and making an authentic sound. This journey from losing passion to rediscovering it is something very powerful and shows Rose's resilience. You know, Rose also has a very special relationship with the guitar. She learned guitar by watching YouTube videos when YouTube was just starting to boom. Rose said, "All these YouTubers online, they looked really cool, and so I was like, I want to be like them, and just picked it up." And her first guitar, which she bought when she was 14 years old, was absolutely crucial for her audition that changed her career trajectory, which was the opportunity to join what later became Blackpink. At that time, Jason Mraz had just released the song, "I Won't Give Up," and Rose had just learned it. She and her father flew from Melbourne to Sydney for the audition, and Rose honestly thought it was a joke. She said, "I was like, this is funny. I'm not gonna get it at all. Might as well make some good memories." But it turned out, with that guitar and Jason Mraz's song, her life changed forever. And now, on her first solo album ROSÉ released in December 2024, Rose returns to her roots with tender and personal acoustic guitar-backed songs. Speaking of her solo work, there's something very touching about the process of making the album ROSÉ. Rose described the album process as very therapeutic and the only place she felt sane. She said the album process was like being held by mom or something. She did this for a full year in Los Angeles, far from Blackpink's home base in Seoul, after the exhausting Born Pink World Tour ended. And the opening song on the album, Number One Girl, deals directly with her vulnerability, very contrasting with Blackpink's hardened and confident music. In this song, Rose expresses her need for validation from the outside world in an unexpectedly raw way. She sings, "Tell me I'm that new thing, tell me that I'm relevant," over doleful piano. This is Rose stripping away all the glamour and showing her most vulnerable self. And you know what, even though Rose is now a global superstar with over 84 million Instagram followers, making her the third most followed K-pop idol after Lisa and Jennie, she still struggles with pressure from her fanbase. Comment sections from Rose's old posts are filled with messages from irate fans criticizing how she navigates her solo career. The most vocal fans hate that she took so long to release solo music and feel she made a misstep by signing with the Black label, unlike other Blackpink members who founded their own management companies. Rose talks about this pressure without a shred of self-pity. She said, "It keeps me up a lot, but it's only because I love my fans so much. It does eat me alive. They can get impatient, which I totally understand, but at the end of the day, I'm human." What makes Rose even more special is her honesty about struggling in her 20s. Many songs on the album ROSÉ draw upon toxic relationships she experienced. Rose said, "I think I'm grateful enough to have gone through a few relationships, you know, like a normal girl in her 20s. I do want people to understand that I'm not much different from your average girlfriend, or 23-year-old girl." She even added that the experience doesn't have to be about a boyfriend, but any type of toxic relationship. And she was absolutely right when she said, "Your 20s is not an easy time to live through. It's when you're very vulnerable and confused, excited, and angry about life." This relatability is one of the reasons why her solo album resonates so much with people around the world. Oh, and one more unique thing about Rose. During vocal rest after performing with Coldplay, she learned sign language for the first time. In between silent games of Scrabble with her team, Rose consciously pulled back from attending public events because she wanted to foster an environment where she could access Rosie that's embedded inside of me, not the Rosie people see. And when asked about hobbies, Rose has a very honest answer: "What's a hobby? My hobby is my work. Maybe I'm the type of person that can do one thing at a time." This intense focus is one of the reasons why she can achieve the level of success she has today. And speaking of recent achievements, as we enter 2026, Rose just wrapped up 2025 with some incredibly heartwarming moments. On Christmas Day 2025, she visited Seoul University Children's Hospital, spending precious time with young patients who are bravely fighting their illnesses. Re-Edition magazine. She shared on Instagram that throughout the year, she received so much love from everyone through her song APT, and she wanted to give back that love to the children. Even more exciting, Rose was crowned the most beautiful face of 2025 on TC Candler's prestigious list, becoming the second Blackpink member to top this list after Lisa's reign in 2021 Preezy. This recognition celebrates not only her physical beauty but also her global impact as a style and grace icon. And there's even bigger news. Blackpink is gearing up for a triumphant 2026 comeback with their Deadline World Tour concluding on January 26 in Hong Kong Popping, and their third studio album is in the final stages of production, set for early 2026, marking the group's first full-length release since Born Pink in 2022 Vogue Hong Kong. This will be perfect timing for their 10th anniversary in August 2026. The group has already been performing their new comeback single, Jump, during the tour, giving fans a taste of what's to come. So guys, after discussing all of this, we can see that behind the perfect image of Rose from Blackpink, there's a real human being with insecurities, annoying habits, hated foods, fear of insects, and struggles with mental health and online hate. But what makes Rose truly special is her courage to be vulnerable and honest about all of this. From the thumb-cracking habit that annoys her sister, to the doom-scrolling that resulted in a powerful song, from hiding junk food in a pillowcase as a trainee to crying over delicious bean sprouts, from losing passion for music to creating one of the most personal albums in K-pop history, Rose shows us that being imperfectly human is exactly what makes someone perfectly relatable and inspiring. And with the recent success of APT, with Bruno Mars breaking numerous records, plus the album ROSÉ becoming the highest-charting album by a Korean female soloist in both the US and UK, clearly Rose is proving that authenticity and vulnerability are the real keys to connecting with people globally. So next time you see Rose perform with perfect hair and flawless vocals, remember all these hidden habits and struggles that make her who she truly is. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you discovered something new about Rose. And drop in the comments section which habit or fact surprised you the most. See you in the next video. Annyeong.